when I finished university, I entered the UK Hand Knitters Association. They run a competition every year, which is the Hand Knitters Award. I think that's what it's called. And it's showcased at the Knitting and Stitching Show at Alexandra Palace. And I was fortunate enough to win in 2009. And through doing that, I met Debbie Bliss, but I met her quite randomly. I was there and she was sort of looking at my stuff, and I actually met her, which was great. And from meeting her, I ended up working with her on a few things for her magazines. And then through working with Debbie Bliss, I met Quadrille, who are my publishers now, and they work with Debbie Bliss. They publish a lot of her books. I learnt to knit when I was quite young, I think, maybe 5 or 6. My mum taught me, so I did have that background. That was always sort of my strongest craft, I suppose. Knitting and crochet are probably the big ones for me, but I do like, I don't know, I suppose it's nice to do lots of creative things, isn't it? I quite like bread making now and then. I think it can really come from anything. I look at a lot of like vintage garments. Often you find quite nice sort of details that you just wouldn't find in things around now. I seem to be drawn to mustard colours, and I quite like sky blues, denim-y blues, coral pink. I don't know why I like them. I think they're the kind of colours that I wear and I like. I suppose it's a bit selfish that I work with things that I like. I always used to use Jameson's a lot because for the Shetland yarn I love all the colours, and used to do a lot of Fair Isle knitting, which I still like. What other companies? There's a company called Malabrigo. They have amazing colours. And Quince & Co and Brooklyn Tweed, they're all really nice companies, yeah. My definite favourite is Patricia Roberts. Her stuff is incredible, and I think I've knitted one of her patterns, but my grandma, I often sent her the patterns to do. I think she always hates me for that, but because they're so complicated, and it must take her like a year to do each one. But they're just amazing. I think it's almost like every single stitch in a garment that she's designed is like a really key part of that design, if you see what I mean. They're just amazing, yeah. She's called Lemon and Peppermint. Her stuff's lovely. Just really amazing. Everything's sort of like really retro, like brown and yellow and orange, but it's really nice and sort of clean, and all her photos are amazing. I like the Chili Philly guy who crochets weird things, just because it's quite fun, and I suppose you can see from that you can make anything from crocheting. It's quite exciting. It's quite a sculptural craft. When we first had Harry, it was because being freelance as well, I didn't really have maternity leave. I suppose I left it a couple of months, but I was always trying to sort of keep working a little bit, but then it was quite overwhelming to realise that you couldn't actually, I used to just say yes to everything, but then suddenly you can't just do whatever. But yeah, I think I'm getting the hang of it now, and certainly now that he's a bit older and he's less sort of dependent on me in terms of, like feeding all the time and stuff like that, but I can kind of get on a bit more, and he's easy around other people, like he can be with my mum for an afternoon, so I can get on with a bit of work then, but yeah, getting the hang of it. This is a cardigan that I designed with my son Harry in mind. The blue seems to suit him quite nicely. This is it's made from Cowgirl Blues yarn, which is really lovely and soft. I think the colours are amazing. This blue is called Argentine, and I think it's hand dyed because it's got that lovely sort of variation in colour going through it. And yeah, it's going to be available on my website soon, up to sizes about age 7. Then this is a crocheted bolster cushion. It's crocheted in Debbie Bliss Rialto DK yarn, and it's very, very quick to make. But what a lovely feature of it is that it's quite a loose stitch, and it has a contrast linings which you can see through, and it's finished with a lovely tassel at the end. Obviously work very hard. I think it's important to sort of find what is unique about your own designs and sort of go with that. I know it sounds terrible, but I think social media is so important now, which is something I definitely need to improve on. You know, you can have an audience without having a website even, or yeah, you can get seen quite easily now. So I think it's really important to get on social media. Maybe get a website on Etsy or something, show your work. And Ravelry's great if you're trying to sell patterns. That's a big website for knitters.